You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.
Where do I come from?
It seems like you have a little problem understanding the English language.
The only way a guy like you gets a set of nuts is by buying them at the concession stand.
I will eat his carcass in front of his little gazelle friends.
It's like a jar of mayonnaise with eyeballs and a ketchup haircut.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty!
Son of a bitch.
Wow, man, freaked out!
Get your fucking shit together, my God!
And I'm living now, yeah!
I want to know what's going on, and I want to know right now.
It's like the most important man in the world standing here, and you got a conversation going with each other.
I would like to just get to know you.
The great one says you can kiss his ass.
Nice to meet you. What's going on?
I wish horrible flesh-eating disease on you and your family, but not a disease where you die, a disease where you have to walk the earth mutated as some sort of piece of...
Listen to me very carefully.
Whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise.
Listen to me very carefully.
Maybe I am insane. And maybe it's time for you to find out how insane I am. Yeah.
We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
Yo, what up, though? Your boy Scrappy the Belt Guy here. Another edition of BCU and Belt Collectors Unite. Oh my God, the fuckery. Oh my God, the fuckery. I don't even know what to say. It's like a daily drama here. Like, this hobby's supposed to be fun, man. Like, that's not supposed to be pulling your hair out. So as the world turns, we will have a blast with the drama that is the hobby. And we'll talk a little bit MMA, a little pro wrestling, whatever you want to get into, we got it. Plus, it's a new belt day here at BCU, and kind of silly, but we'll talk about that too. How is everybody doing today? We're up and live on Facebook, Studio 57 Radio, also on the Studio 57 Radio YouTube channel. We're rocking this thing. Get in on the chat room. You can also hit us up in the text line. That is anonymous if you want to be. 313-307-5340. I hope you guys are living large and in charge, having a good time, and enjoying, at least in the Midwest here, we're having some nice weather. I hope everybody's healthy, doing well. It is crazy times out there. We're going to try to keep your mind off of that stuff and talk about some good old fashioned wrestling. And if we're going to have some drama, if it's going to be silly, and let's have some belt drama, right? So let's have the drama be within the hobby for today, and I'll get your mind off of all the other stuff that's going on. Like I said, I hope everybody's healthy and safe and doing well. I am a lucky cat. In a couple of weeks here in Michigan, our federal unemployment extension will kind of run out, and we don't make, as everybody knows across the country, unemployment ain't shit. And I'm lucky enough I got called back to work to my regular job starting next week. So good news is you won't have to look at my ugly face live on the J-Dubs page as often, but it won't hold up anything otherwise. But nice to be back and have that feeling that, okay, things are going to get back to normal. So I hope you guys are getting some normalcy in your lives too. And we'll talk a little bit about that, about where wrestling's going and what's going to be the new norm for the shows and what they're going to look like. So we'll get into that today too. The ongoing saga with Bingo Fashions and some of these other low-level, like, questionable belt companies, middlemen, PayPal, Western Union, and a guy named Matt. There's a guy named Matthew. There is a lot to get into here. So let's just really, like, start getting into it right now. We'll start with the an update on the bingo fashion scenario. We know they've been using pictures that are not theirs. They have now changed that policy. I've had spirited conversations with the people over there, and we'll see how it plays out. So I've had conversations in multiple ways. So like as myself and as this host, and so some things don't always jive. So they don't realize that they're talking to the same person. Then honesty can be an issue. So yeah, there's definitely issues going on there. So we're gonna get. Probably next week, if everything goes and they follow through on what they say, my customer version of myself should have a new belt day. Now, by the time we get back next week, now the investigative reporter host guy who has been in contact has been has gotten a lot of those images changed. If you haven't noticed, if you go onto the eBay Bingo Fashions page, you will notice that. Those are not, I can't say they're not stolen pics. I just can say that they're not the obviously stolen ones they were using before. There seems to be some consistency in the way they're taking those pictures as far as like what you're seeing in the backdrop potentially. So maybe, hopefully, they're taking the proper pictures. But they are definitely aware of their presence in the hobby. And I didn't have to say anything. So like the word's getting around, like these other cats are putting the word out without an issue. Of course, we are as well. But all these other cats have been talking about them for a while. So I don't know if they are aware to the extent of their negative feedback is, because I still think they believe because their eBay store looks really well that they're fine, and that it's not as deep entrenched as it is. I mean, quite frankly, for a while there, a good portion of the hobby was talking about them in Z's belts. Now, Z's belts is another story. There's like so many fake versions of Z's belts. I'm not sure which one to attack. So we're just going to red flag all of them, and we're not fucking with any of them. So that's just how we're going to play that. But I'm going to because I've been able to get some kind of spirited interaction through in multiple forms of myself to the bingo fashions, who's been the hot button topic. We're going to see. We're going to get the truth. We're going to get the real deal. We're not going to get speculation based on what people are seeing. And great. All those red flags. Do not ignore the red flags. We've talked about it here before, and I'll never, ever say to ignore the red flags. And they are throwing them all up there. But we're going to find out for sure what they're all about. Hopefully next week on the show. What I'll do is if it lands, if there is a new belt, I won't open it. I'll leave it in the package, and we'll do it on the belt cam, and we'll rock it that way. So we'll see what happens. And then after everything's done and I have my communications, whatever it is, positive or negative, and whatever goes forward with this, if this is a horrible disaster, then on my customer side of me needs to react and see how they react to it, because that needs to be part of this story too. If they made a mistake or they messed something up but they make good on it, then that needs to be part of the story too. I don't have faith that any of that shit's going to happen. It'll probably be garbage. They'll probably not do anything, and it'll probably be a nightmare to get my money back. But once again, that's why we have sponsors and we do all this crazy shit on the show. So that's how it's going to work. So we're going to do all kinds of wild stuff so you guys don't have to, and we're going to do it through sponsorship and stuff like that. So of course, I'll talk about in the coming weeks when our sponsorship stuff really starts hitting here and we start putting out all the you'll get that. I'll do live reads, but I'll try not to do too many commercials or pump too much shit. But they are going to be the ones that help fund us to do all these crazy projects and weird, like just getting into shit or whatever. Hey, Canada Mike, Greg, what's happening? Glad to see you guys. Glad to have you up in here and hanging out with us, guys. If you're in the chat room, feel free to get your comments in, any questions, any whatever you want to talk about. We can move that stuff around. I am here for you, and we'll have fun. You guys can kind of dictate this conversation a little bit too, so please do. Anyway, now as far as as bingo goes, hopefully we'll have something next week. So we're moving on. And then I've already got the next company in line. We're ready to go. Another company that would be like on the low end. And I found out some stuff. And you know, so a lot of people are looking at it because, you know, they put up a good Facebook front. They got a website up there. They put up a good front. But, you know, a lot of people are saying quality suspect. Some people are saying not so much. But not a lot of chatter around there like I would see from others. Typically, if you're good or you're bad, there's a lot of chatter around you. But there's very few right in the middle unless you're kind of unknown. And so we're going to see. This one's fairly well known. So I'll reveal that next week who we're going after once we get done with the bingos. But we got another one, same process, multiple belts going on with multiple faux customers and all that. So we're having fun with that, and we're infiltrating another one. And of course, it's all these overseas makers and you know, just the questionable makers out there. Most of the questionable makers are all of the ones that are doing bootlegs are overseas. And I'm going to get into that thing here in a minute, because the whole bootlegging thing here in this country is on fire right now. And if you guys been in the groups, you know what kind of stuff I'm talking about. So we'll get into some of that drama here in just 1 second. If you guys are in the Metro Detroit area and you need tires, you need to check out my boys at Allstate Tire. They're at 14208 9 Mile Road, man, and they give out the best. Dude, I got 4 tires for my truck. I drive an F-150. I got 4 tires, brand new Coopers, for like $550. Like, you can't. That's mounted, balanced, ready to rock, no fuss, no muss. I mean, they drive you in and drive you out. You don't even have to get out of your vehicle. They just rock it out. Sometimes I'll do NASCAR shit, just come out to the curbside and just rock you that fast. Just amazing service over there. 586-774-8251. Go ahead and check out Allstate Tire for all your new and used tire needs. They're in East Point. They're on 9 Mile. Between Hayes and Shaner, on the south side of the road. If you guys are in the Warren, Metro Detroit, Tri-County area listening, check them out for sure. All right. Now, we got all kinds of fuckery going on in the hobby, and I don't even know where to go or what to say. It's just, it's mind-boggling. So, we'll start with some of these groups, okay? Obviously, I've been wanting. I've talked about this, hinted about this, and a lot now. And I think the word. I don't know if the word's getting out that I'm going to be talking about this stuff. If people are listening really at all, or if it's just, you know, our little core group, or if it's just coincidence. But all these cats that I've kind of been hinting at and talking about and dropping hints about are all starting to get exposed in the hobby, so one after another. So I feel a little scrappy-damus, other than I didn't really like come out and name drop right away, as I didn't really want to do that till I could get some stuff together. But now I don't really have to, because they're outing them fucking selves anymore. So it's one of those things where everybody that is a middleman is in question here, guys. We talked about this before. If you have a group, and the whole point of the group is for a middleman to be able to do his product, there's a reason why you can't do a business with certain areas. There's certain things going on. There's certain reasons why. If a cat is here in this country and gets his PayPal shut down, he's fucking doing shit he ain't supposed to be doing. They don't just shut you down. They warn you. They say this activity is, you know, suspect. They do things like that, and then you can correct those situations. You can be in contact with PayPal and have those things taken care of if there's any kind of, you know, question. But if you don't have any defense for what you're doing, they shut you the fuck down. Okay? So guys, if you're seeing guys posting about, oh, you know, you got to use this and you got to use that, you're going to get shut the fuck down. It's the same thing. Your middleman ain't going to be able to do nothing now, because all your belt makers are overseas in Pakistan, and now like Western Union, PayPal, all those places, they're not going to work with them anymore. You're not going to be able to send money there anymore. So it's going to get worse. You know what I'm saying? So now what? You send money over there and they can't get the stuff over here if you do get the money over there? So there's lots and lots of problems when you're dealing with the overseas makers. The biggest problem is not the overseas makers. It's the middlemen that kind of get you caught up. So the big guy, the big name out there, of course, is Carmine and Beltomania. That would have been one of the early ones I would have went after as well. I could go down a whole list of hypocritical, crazy, crappy, belt pushers that are out there. But he would like to disguise himself as a journalist and a media guy and putting stuff out and being, he's a rat. He's proven himself to kind of be a rat, and that's what's going on there. But what cracks me up is the hypocrisy in all this shit. He's out there, he's using groups, getting into groups to get people on his podcast, get his podcast going and spread his garbage and sell his crap, and jam people up with crappy product. But then, he goes back to his group, and cats will talk. They kick him out of the group. They're all talking about his ass and what he did and how much of a scumbag he is, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then a guy who's been blackballed from a bunch of groups. I'm gonna leave this guy out of it right now because everybody seems to be, okay with him giving them oral pleasure. But he's basically fellatioed himself back into all these groups after getting kicked out. A gentleman he's a very talented guy. He's got a service that people are using out there for belts, and he used to do a few other things. But once again, it goes into that whole thing, and we'll talk about some of these other groups. It's beyond being like legit. Like, let's say you are legit. Let's say you don't have to be a fucking asshole on top of it. It's okay to be to be a belt snob, so to speak, if you're not a fucking asshole to people. And so this guy gets booted out of everywhere he goes. He's fellatioing his way back into these groups, and he's two-facing everybody. Because then he's not only is he like one of the guys that helps out Carmine and bitch about him and dog him out in the other group, you go back to Carmine's group, and he's fucking in on the podcast, leaving comments and sucking his dick at the same time after he's stabbing his back in another group. I mean, give me a break. It's drama. Too much drama for my mama. It is fucking entertaining as hell, though. I'll tell you that. See, that's why you have to be picky and careful who you're friends with, Take your time to be buddies with somebody on the internet. Understand who they are. Try to take time to get to know them a little bit and hope that you're not getting a long-term scam. Most people don't have patience to fuck you for too long, to work you over for too long before they stick one to you. So, patience is a virtue when you're dealing with people, and this is just whatever. The hypocrisy runs deep because all these groups are all doing the same janky shit. That's why their shit's getting kicked off. That's why PayPals are getting shut down, and that's why guys are infiltrated in this group. Carmine's so fucking dumb. He tags WWE in a fucking podcast post bullshit ass fucking shit where he's selling his bootleg product. How fucking dumb are you? And hence Matthew. That's why Matthew's out there. Because of ignorant shit like that. And whatever. So he's going out there and he's anything that's WWE intellectual property, he's fucking cracking down on cats for leaving shit out there. Because there's millions of dollars potentially being left on the table with all these bootleg products moving over the course of time. So, guys, as a group, we got to understand what we're dealing with here. We've got to be smarter than that. I get it. We talk about it all the time. All belts matter in this motherfucker. Okay, I'm not mad at you for getting bootlegs, but my whole thing is for another $100, if you want a WWE product, buy a WWE product. For another $100, wait, buy the product, get the fucking legit shit, and have the real thing. Like, I don't understand. Now, when you can't get something, they don't make it, there's no access to it, that's a different story. Customs, that's not even in the conversation because customs are customs. But if you want a WWE product, if you want a licensed product, if they have a replica available, they're usually not more than $100 more than the fucking bootlegs. And then with the bootlegs, you never know what, when, where, or how you're going to get the motherfucker. So, guys, be smart out there. Look out for each other. Continue doing what you guys have been doing. You guys have been doing a really good job of looking at each other's, watching each other's back in the hobby, even in other groups outside of, our Belt Collectors Unite group, which once again, I am lacking because I'm so fucking busy getting in there. But feel free to get in there. Once again, I'm busy in the fact that at least I'm getting info for the group, and I'm going to start posting all this stuff in there as far as the scammers and whatnot and all that. The Carmine stuff I didn't even have a chance to get to, and and groups are firing up on it. But it's so funny, the hypocrisy in all those groups, and then there's a whole other third group that wants to stay out of it, but they're getting involved in it from like they're almost like they're doing that they're igniting shit just to ignite shit, like they're getting a kick out of it, like they come from their group to that group and just fucking firebomb that shit and get it fucking even more fired up. It's silly, guys. That's not what this hobby's supposed to be, right? Or am I tripping? I could be tripping. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the hobby is supposed to be drama. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be acting like a bunch of 6th grade girls. Maybe that's what we're supposed to. Is that what the hobby is? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe I don't get it. I mean, I don't want to be an asshole, but like, I feel like I have to get in that fucking gimmick to get my fucking point across. 313-307-5340. Anything you want to talk about the hobby, shoot it our way. Once again, the bingo fashion saga continues. We'll get into that next week. Hopefully, I'll be able to bring all the emails, lay it all down, and we'll have a belt here that we can open up and go, wow, better than I thought, or holy fucking disaster piece. What the fuck is that thing? Either way, it should make for great content. So, so we'll have that hopefully next week. But we're on a little early, so if you guys are just catching the notifications and coming in, we're on early this week. We got a little virtual party going on the J-Dubs page at 7:00 ish. I'm gonna say ish because we're gonna do some birthday cake for my bonus son. He had his 13th today. Little Fuzzy Nuts had a party, and we're gonna do we did dinner, and everybody's kind of gone or whatever, and we got some cake and ice cream left over, and we're gonna do that. And I'm going to catch a little break, get a setup and all that. So I'm going to take a little break. So around 7:15 over on the J-Dubs page, we'll have a virtual party. We'll kick it. We'll hang out. You can hang out with my fucking loud ass some more if you want. I get it if you don't, but it'll be fun. We'll talk about the event all up in your crib, because I don't want to say anything. Like, if I say the right stuff or I advertise the right stuff or I put certain stuff out, then Matthew will be on us. Matthew will be looking, and he will be lurking around every corner, and we can't have Matthew lurking around every corner. So that's what we're doing. So yeah, that's a big crackdown going on right now with bootleg products everywhere. UFC's got people out there doing stuff right now. You're going to start seeing stuff from AEW, NWA, and these other companies, Bellator. If you are bootlegging or are advertising or putting out these bootleg products, then you will be targeted, so to speak. It puts up a red flag. They may not come after you, but then they're going to surround everything you do. So they're going to be following you around in your little groups, and then they're going to know which groups to get into and who's the players and who's doing what. And they're going to do the little spy thing that I kind of do. Like, I'm not a big poster. I like watching. Once again, we talked about this before. I like to witness greatness, and I'll talk about that here in a minute when it comes to MMA here shortly. If you guys didn't watch this fights on Saturday, you missed my homeboy fight, an emotional, excellent fight, one of the best of his career, and just have a breakdown at the end there. And he's been holding that in for a week, dude. And dude, I love that guy, man. He's just an amazing young man. I've only met him a few times, hung out with him a few times, been to a bunch of his fights. We got a ton of mutual friends. I would consider him a buddy of mine. I would, if he called or needed something, I would do something for him for sure. So we'll talk a little bit about the UFC event. And I want to give him some love, so we'll do that here before we get out. But yeah, I mean, you don't want Matthew lurking around every corner, so you got to be careful what you're doing. They are cracking down on all this stuff. Same thing with whether it's illegal streaming or it's illegal merchandising or whatever the case may be. It's on full-on crackdown anyway, because online, so my background before all this was music, okay? I spent 15 years in the music industry. I toured. I worked for Warner Brothers. I worked for Universal Records. I was actually a talent scout for Universal Records for a while. I was a Clear Channel artist. I played every major venue there is in the state, and I've toured like the Midwest and stuff like that. It was huge in Germany. I've been through it and done it all for a long time. And it's the same kind of thing. They're cracking down too. Like you see it in your Facebook posts, right? Like you have a music in the background and they shut your shit down. You know what I'm saying? Even when you put that, I don't own the rights to, they don't give a fuck. That's not a disclaimer of any kind. That doesn't mean they don't want you using their intellectual property, period. It doesn't matter what disclaimer you type on your Facebook before you play that shit. That's why they shut you down. You see these DJs, and I guarantee you, ask any one of these DJs if they've made it longer than an hour DJing on Facebook. An hour max, and you're going to get shut down. And then you got to start back up, and then eventually they'll suspend your page if you just keep rifling one after another and ignoring them. So it's one of those things you only can do it so many times, and then you're on the flag, and then they're on you like white on rice. So you got to know what's going on here. Got to know the temperature of the room, so to speak. So guys, the hobby's going to change dramatically, man, dramatically, because you're not, the bootleg market is going to go almost bye-bye. It's going to be tough. You're going to still be able to get your stuff, but it's going to be a much slower, harder, shitty process. Isn't it already? When you're dealing with a lot of bootleg overseas makers, it kind of already is stressful, right? Some guys have good communication, other guys don't. Some guys have, good product, other guys don't. Some guys, have good, accurate turnaround times, other guys don't. So it's just it's like a roller coaster ride of what you're going to get. And even if you know a guy and done business with a guy before and he's always done well by you, shit happens. So when you're on the other side of the world, it's even tougher when shit happens, because shit can happen there that you're not privy to. You know what I'm saying? Like in Pakistan a couple of weeks ago, they had a passenger plane, with like 100 passengers go down, and what is that made? It's like Tehran or whatever that made the number one, one of the biggest, right into a populated area. This plane goes down, and so I don't know if that would affect any necessarily makers over there, but I mean, if you got stuff like that going on, it was a big thing on Yahoo because the plane hadn't been inspected in God knows how long, and that thing was circling the airport 3 or 4 times before he lost control of it and crashed it into a populated like residential area. So it was like a big thing over there in Pakistan. So, and that was just like a week or so ago or two. So I don't know. Does that affect what's going on over there with your shipment? It might. What if that plane hit your boy's house? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, so it's already a stressful situation, and they're going to make it even harder on you. And these groups are going to get shut down because ultimately, if WWE and UFC and AEW or whoever, these licensed companies send enough cease and desist orders, send enough court things and enough stuff, eventually Facebook is just not going to allow any of that shit. So these belt groups will get shut down completely, and that's the last thing we want. So it's one of those things where it's just play it smart out there, guys. Use your brain. Just always consider Matthews watching every post you put out there, everything you do. I know that's just the kid's name for the WWE. That's all he does. I forget his last name. I saw it in the article, and that's all he does. And he was interviewed, actually. That's all he does. He gets paid all day to sit on fucking social media and quote unquote protect WWE's intellectual property. So of all forms, of every kind. So I'm sure a lot of that stuff's like illegal streaming and then, of course, the bootleg merchandise. That's pretty much probably everything that they're dealing with. So, as much as the illegal streaming is a thing, that's easier for them to catch, I think, than the bootlegging scenario. And I think now they realize how big the bootleg market really truly is, because I don't even think the WWE understood how big the belt market was until these last 3 or 4 years. To be honest with you, and they've started to put crazier belts out, more designs, bringing old ones back, putting on sales, and they just seem to be, that part of their merchandising just seems to be way more than elaborate than it ever was. And so I think they see the value in that now, and then they're like, wait a minute, these guys are looking around and seeing, hey man, there's so much stuff out there that's not ours, that's illegal merchandise. And then boom, Vinnie Mac hears that, what? And bam, he's got the dogs on it. especially now when they're scrounging for every money. So you could pay this guy $40,000 a year, and he could potentially, save you hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in lost revenue. So so that doesn't surprise me that shit's happening. So if you're in groups and you're dealing with that stuff, then you know what I'm talking about. If you're one of the few middlemen that are just trying to be exactly that, a cushion for guys dealing with going to do overseas transactions and stuff, you guys your lives are gonna change. There's not too many of you. I think most of you guys, to be quite honest, are on some kind of hustle one way or another. Not to be like a dick or anything. I just think when you're a middleman for a company, there's a reason. So whether you're trying to make a buck off of somebody and get free product off of somebody, or you've made promises, whatever the case may be, there's an angle there. Typically, you don't not everybody, like I said. So the few of you that are out there that are on the up and up, whoever you are, wherever you are, I would love to meet you. But I would I would say is that stuff's going to change. The hobby's going to change big time in that aspect. I believe, especially as this stuff grows. I mean, like, you've seen these groups. You have thousands and thousands of fucking people in thousands of thousands of groups. Now, granted, most of everybody's in all the groups. If you look at somebody's profile, they're probably in 20 belt groups if they're in one. So I like to be in there because I like to see everything that's kind of going on, and I like it from a creative standpoint. I like to see cool new stuff and new ideas and things that people do, and whether it be the way they display them or the way they re-leather them or do modifications to them or customs or just new designs. We've been blessed with a lot of new designs because AEW's come here and WWE is like changing stuff up, and whether you like the designs or not, there's been a lot of cool new stuff to look at if you're a belt collector. So I try to get in as many groups as I can. What's the skull belt behind me? Oh, that is for our DSR2 podcast. We do a sports podcast, and that is for that. So you see the two microphones in the skull, and it's got Detroit Sports Radio Rebels in the banner there, and Johnny the Moose is the host, and you'll see there's a little moose on one of the plates right there, and then it's got the DSR2 logos and stuff on it. So yeah, there's a podcast on Studio 57 Radio Wednesdays at 8 p.m. For all you sports nuts. Johnny the Moose is a fucking encyclopedia, dude. If you can stump that fucking dude, we're gonna do Stump the Moose. We're going to do the Stump the Moose. We're going to get some, once we get sporting events and stuff back together, you come over there, and I produce the show. He does, but we'll do some Stump the Moose and give some tickets away for some events when we start having events again. That guy's a fucking encyclopedia. If you can stump that guy on sports, you're a bad mofo. So that guy's got a wealth of knowledge. If you're a mainstream sports fan, that's as pluggy as I'll get on that one. So check that out. So there you go, Mike. Thanks for asking about that belt there. Like I said, we got a virtual party coming here in just a little bit. I'm going to skirt out of here just a little early, a little bit before 7, and then we're going to kick on just a little after 7. It'll give me time to switch over and get all my stuff together and have some cake and ice cream for a birthday real fast before we get back to it. So it's we're going to be kicking it, having a good old time. It'll be for the All Up in Your Crib event. Because like I said, Matthew's listening. That's going to be a running joke. You know what I need? I need a shirt. That's the new shirt. You cannot steal it. It's a J-Dub shirt. It'll be on the website by the end of the week, and it just simply says Matthew's watching. That's it. Matthew's watching. No one's going to know what that means except for us, but it'll be great. Anybody want them? We'll sell them in bulk and get them cheap for you. Oh, man, what am I talking about here? I'm losing my mind. Okay. So hopefully next week, like I said, we'll get into the whole bingo fashions of it all, and we'll have some more. And then I'll be able to unveil the next douchebaggery kind of thing. Well, we don't know. They might be on the up and up. The next company that I think is, questionable, and we'll infiltrate. Thanks to some of our wonderful sponsors that we're going to be able to do some of these cool programs and some other stuff too. I'll start bringing back the modification, all the little things that we do in the shop. So I'll start bringing that, and we'll do. I'll show you guys how to do some leather work and some other stuff. Just fun, goofy projects. So speaking of fun, goofy projects, I'm always down for a cheap pop, right? If I can, I like garage sales, thrift stores. I like all that crazy stuff. Not only do you find wild, weird, goofy shit, which I'm a huge fan of, and there's a whole group on Facebook for that stuff, or like just weird shit you find at secondhand stores. And so, like, I love doing that kind of looking around and do whatever. So, Michigan started opening up some places in the northern region where there's a lot less people. They opened up a couple weeks ago to storefronts. Like, you could go into places, social distancing, wear a mask. They limited capacity, so they kind of keep track of how many people are in there, and you might have to wait outside kind of thing. But it was open, and you could roll, and everything was cool. So we went around, and we were able to go to a couple of, flea markets or whatever, and just looking for a few things. And I love finding anything I can get, and it's super, super cheap. So believe it or not, I've got a brand new belt day. We went to it was a St. Vincent de Paul, and there was barely anybody in there. We had our masks on, and we were nosing around. They did a really good job of kind of like blocking things off, and as far as putting screens up for the employees, and they have marked off things. So like they were ready, and it was cool, and it was like our first taste of what the new normal is going to be like. So that was kind of part of the allure. If we're going to go somewhere, let's go to one of these local thrift shops and throw them a little money for something, whatever. I always got a $5 in my pocket and for something like that. And so as I was digging, I rocked a $5 in my pocket. I didn't even need my $5. I only needed $1. You heard me. New belt day, $1. Yes, I swear to God. New belt day, $1. You want to go to the belt cam? We can go to the belt cam. We got the $1 belt on the belt cam. Here we go, $1 belt in the belt cam. I sound like an auctioneer. $1 belt, $1 belt in the belt cam. You want $1 belt? You want a belt? You want $1 for a belt? $2 for a belt. $1 belt on the belt cam. Bam! New belt day, $1 belt cam. It is the kids scratch logo WWE Championship plasticky thingy. It was $1. The hell, you think I wasn't going to grab that thing? It was $1. Hell to the yeah. I don't know what kind of project we're going to have for that, but we're going to have a fucking project for that. We're going to have fun with that little guy. It's not huge. Obviously, it's a kid-size belt, but it's in really good shape. And it was $1. I am going to I'm going to have fun with that. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do, but I'm going to have to stink on it for a minute. Maybe we'll do like a freaky paint mod. It's on this like super crappy little vinyl thing, And maybe I'll put it on a new strap or something. And we'll do like a goofy little paint mod, or I don't know. We'll have fun with it. I think we'll have fun with it. So you can have a belt day for $1. I have a new belt day for $1. See, it's $1 belt day. That sounds like something they would have at like Dollar General. It's $1 belt day. Yay! Everybody come down to $1 belt day. Yay! I like $1 belt day. Sorry, what the fuck's wrong with me? Okay, so yeah. So that'll be a future project. You'll see that pop up somewhere along the way in the project videos as I get more going. I've got some projects kind of lined up. We're gonna do a bunch of stuff, but like depending on like how the week's been going, what's going on with belts and shows and life in general, it's kind of hard to sneak in the filming for that every fucking episode. So what I'll do is, what's cool is that, we usually do it in 2 or 3 parts, so I can film everything in one shot, cut it up into a few pieces, knock it up over a couple of weeks, and then, you've got something to look forward to there. And we'll put those stuff individually on their own up on the YouTube channel, the Studio 57 Radio YouTube channel. If you guys haven't had a chance, go over there, hit subscribe, get the little notification button, and then you won't miss anything that we got going on, whether I'm uploading those videos, I'm going to start doing YouTube exclusive stuff. Okay. We do Facebook exclusive stuff like our virtual party for the All Up in Your Crib a little bit later on the J-Dubs page. We're going to do some YouTube exclusive only stuff too. So you'll want to go over there and hit that subscribe, because there'll be a time here in the near future where you'll only be able to get certain content over there. And we're going to kind of do that a little bit. The general content will be available on all platforms, but to entice you to maybe go to other places, we might just put a little bit of content of this, a little bit over there, a little bit of that, just a little of that. It's just what I do. So but we want to get you out there to check everything out. And some stuff doesn't translate as well on some of our other mediums. We're on Stitcher, we're on TuneIn and other places. And if you're an audio only situation, some of the content we do doesn't quite work. Like right now, if you're listening to this podcast and we're talking about belt cam and this, that, and the other, you don't know what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? So we want to try to do some stuff that's kind of exclusive to each thing too, so that gives you incentive to go there and be a part of that. So please do that. Tell your friends, subscribe, share, leave comments, reviews. We love all that stuff, positive or negative. I don't care. Light me up. If I'm doing dumb shit and I'm not fun, then tell me and we'll change it. Jesus, I'm here for you. I'll do whatever. I'm goofy. You know what? I've gotten no sleep. I'm getting slap happy and losing my mind. And I'm going to start drinking here soon. So just wait. The virtual party is going to be off the Chizane. So you guys going to be there 7:10, 7:15-ish is when it'll probably actually go live. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. So there you go. So there's my dollar belt day. Like I said, I'm going to put that into some kind of project. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I'm going to make some kind of project. I was considering making a clock out of it, but I don't know, because then you got the side plates there. So how do I want to do that? Do I want to make it like one whole piece, and I could have all those pieces up there close, and then put the clock parts in there? It wouldn't actually be a strap. It would just kind of be like a square block, like a black. All these different ideas running through my head. Do I want to maybe just put it on a scrap piece of leather and make it a bunch of freaky colors and make it look like a goofy, neat, like belt? Maybe I want to do that. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Take any ideas. You guys got some ideas? I'll take some ideas from you guys, and then we can make those ideas come to life. That'd be cool. And you could shoot it in the text, and even if the show's not live and you think of something later, you could shoot it to me. So here's the number. Put it in your phone, and then anytime we're doing the shows, any of the shows, it's the same text line. And then if you have something for the show that you want to throw to us when we're not live, you can do that. 313-307-5340. Appreciate everybody that has gotten in on the text line already. Lots of questions about straps and leather and stuff like that. Okay, guys, so I'll try to address that here, and those are coming in the text line before we get ready to dip out of here. Like I said, I'm going to sneak out a little early today. So re-leathers, all different grades, man. There's tons of guys that are out there that are really good. I'm not here to plug anybody because no one's really sponsoring us except for J-Dubs. If you want to re-leather, J-Dubs definitely has the best prices in town and very good work. But there's some guys out there that do really, really good jobs, some guys that do okay. There's some, you'll know the names, you'll see them out there constantly. But the difference between that and like those like takeoff straps is a lot of those straps are those vinyl crappy ones that you get from, like you'd see on a WWE shop belt or something that's typically replaced. Or they have like a leather guy that's like, where it's not really a leather guy, it's like a machine. So they'll laser them. And so they'll have a guy that runs this CNC laser, essentially, and he just feeds the material in, and everything's lasered in. All the etching, all the stamping, everything's etched in, and then and it's kind of a low-grade material, and you get those. All that stuff tends to fall apart, dude. If you want... You don't ever want, when you buy a lot of these replicas, most of them, in fact, 99% of them come on that crap vinyl bullshit. You don't want that. There's nothing in that stuff that is any good to you. So they'll wear down and break down or whatever. So you don't want to get another one of those. there's a lot of those floating out there. So you don't want to get another one of those. And then a lot of cats that are doing send-out straps, they're running on a template, whatever. If they're doing them cheap, mass-producing them, you're not getting the quality that you'd get if you send it to a guy and have it re-leathered. So whether you're using Stokes or you're going to Man in the Fog or whoever you're dealing with, those guys, they're really good, and they're going to give you a better quality product. Now, are you going to pay more? Yeah. Yeah, but if you chintz out, then you get what you pay for in this hobby. That is very, very true. With J-Dubs, you get a little bit more than you pay for, but you got to understand when you deal with even with our low end belts, you're not buying premium belts here. We're providing a service for somebody with a lower financial ability as far as the hobby goes. It doesn't matter how much money you make. Sometimes it's just not. You're not going to put that. You have an X amount you're spending on your hobby and your toys and you're playing and whatever, and that's all you're spending, and that's it. And so we like to be able to provide guys with more modest budget. But you're not talking about like high end shit. You go to Classic Shields and you're going to get high end shit. And you're going to pay for that high end stuff. So just always understand that in the hobby. If you're new, guys, everybody in the hobby knows that. If a deal is too good to be true, sounds too good to be true, it almost always is. So we're going to kind of expose that as we keep going. So like I said, watch out, man. Don't deal with middlemen if you can avoid it. If you like a WWE product, find one secondhand with somebody that's you can check. Always background check. And if someone doesn't let you, as a matter of fact, they should background check themselves. Say, hey, you do a background check for me in this group, and then they'll go into the group and they'll say, hey guys, tell this guy whether I'm a douchebag or not. They will be so willing to do background, they'll do it themselves, or you don't mess with them. Okay, and so and we keep adding to the list and all that. But I really think, your best bet, if you love a WWE product, just go buy the damn thing, the replica from the shop. Send it out to one of these great, talented leather guys that has a good reputation. J-Dub belts. I'm just kidding. There's other guys out there that are really good, that are better than us as well. I'm not going to lie. I know where I stand in this hobby. I'm not an idiot. But there's some really good stuff out there, and we put out a great product. We will always be the most affordable. We'll always give you more than what you pay for. But I can't think of another company out there that is like that, and you get more than what you pay for. You typically get what you pay for. But I haven't dealt with a lot of these guys. But there's a lot of really talented cats out there. So I would do that. I would get if I want a WWE product. Now when you get into something that isn't available, that's when you start getting that conundrum of whether you're dealing with a bootlegger that's going to be overseas, and that game's going to change drastically. And we'll keep you up to date on how this thing goes with all these cease and desist orders and how things are getting held up at the border, and what WWE and Matthew are doing to jam up the bootleg portion of the hobby. So we'll try to keep you up to date on that, but understand it is changing, and it's going to change dramatically over the course of the next, just through the rest of this year and into the future. So be aware. And like I said, I've got belts coming from an overseas maker for myself, not just for the stuff that we're doing. And there's stuff that's just not available yet or may never be available. So, there's a belt that I want that has never been available and will never be available. So, the only way to do it is make it myself or have somebody else do it. So, I was going to give a guy a shot, heard some things, and for me, it'll be great. So I went and did it, and I have no I have faith I'll get the product. It's just I didn't spend a lot of money, so I know that I will get a lower end product, and I'm okay with it. It's just a display piece. I didn't need a zinc, fuck crazy. I just wanted something that looked good, that fit a certain motif I was going with, a belt I wanted. So I was going for a cheap version, and so I got one coming, and I'm kind of excited for it actually. So maybe I'll have that new belt day too, but. Yeah, so just understand that when you're dealing with the hobby, but I think most of you guys know that. So, all right. So there was something else I wanted to get before I got to the closing portion of the show, and I just can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, so yes. back to what I was talking about was the I'm sorry, I get distracted by some of these texts, and some stuff I can get to, some guys will have to deal with it another day. But I do appreciate you for shooting those in. Holy crap, a bunch of them all of a sudden. So once again, lock that text line in. We'll get into it. So yeah, guys, when you're in these groups, be careful what you're putting out there. I'm not buying any. I've got like one belt and then I want a UFC belt. So I'm going to buy a UFC belt from UFC Shop, and then I'll bring it here and I'll re-leather it, because the strap will be garbage. I already know, because I got one here from one I re-leathered. So I already know what the fucking strap is. But I'll buy that one as much as I could probably get a nice one cheaper from a bootlegger. It's not worth it. It's not worth the headache. It's not worth the stress. It's not worth all the nonsense. And pretty soon it's not going to be worth a knock you might get on your fucking door. That's the way it feels like it's going. I don't know if it'll get that far anytime real soon, but it sure does feel like that. So be safe, be smart, and enjoy the hobby properly. You know what I'm saying? And look out for each other. Once again, I reference check everybody. I try to do as much secondhand as I can, and then do like stuff on my own. So I'm lucky enough to be able to do a lot of the stuff myself. So that's a totally different scenario for me than it is for a lot of other people. But there you go with that. So anyway, we got the virtual party coming up, so we're gonna get into that next week. We're gonna come back in here. Hopefully we'll have a new belt day. We can, as far as the bingo fashions goes, hopefully we'll be able to officially lay that one to rest for whatever it is. Like I said, I'll get all the emails that we had going back and forth, and the way I kind of, hey man, and kind of talk to him and stuff like that, so you can see our interactions and what he told me and what actually happened. We'll kind of go through that timeline, and then we will hopefully have the belt here. That's when I'm going to do it when the belt's here. And then, so if we got the belt, we'll do that, and then we'll open it live right here on the belt cam, and we'll go there. I don't usually go after somebody that would be considered competition, but guys, stay away from that Beltomania shit. Just get the fuck. Just don't let that guy continue to fester in this hobby. Get that shit the fuck out of here, like you did McNexter. That was the first guy I went after originally. Was going to be our very first. I was going to do this podcast months ago, and we were going to start with him and his group, but because of all the stuff that had going on and swirling around him, and then I could name some other names in some other groups, but the dust and the smoke is kind of settled in those groups, so we'll wait until them idiots come out of hiding again, and we'll bring it up when it's more prudent and pertinent. Right now, the bingos, the Z's, and I got another one for you, are at the front of our face, so we'll deal with those now, and then when those other guys come back up, and of course the Beltomania fucking situation there with fucking Carmine, and that shit's funny. Like I said, cats are dogging him in other groups, and then are in his group sucking his dick on his podcast via the text and comments. I was like, oh my god. So as the world turns, maybe we'll make it a reality show, and we'll just start fucking. Oh my god, that's what it feels like. I don't want to put cats out there like that. That's just taking it too far. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that are just having fun with it and want the information and the knowledge that's going around, because it is good knowledge and all that stuff. But man, oh man, when you start looking, really digging into what's going on, it is silly drama, like high school girl shit. So it's kind of funny. But it's serious, though, and when you think about it, because cats are putting their money down, hard-earned money in this hobby, and it pisses people off, and it's not good for the hobby, and we got to get it out there. So I will give credit to these other groups for getting it out there before I had a chance to, but that was our intention for this week, but it all blew out before I could even get to it, and I just kind of giggled and laughed. I had no what else to say. I teased it last week. You knew, guys, I was coming in here hot with it, and it all blew up and came up in the groups on its own. So that's what this hobby is all about, man, policing itself and looking out for each other. So you guys are doing it. You're taking the mantra and the word that we do here and at the Belt Collectors Unite group, and you're taking it into the hobby, and I like that. I'm seeing more and more people talk about that stuff. The scammer lists are are being more and more legitimized by making sure that they're not just like vindictive posts and things like that. And a lot of these cats are starting to get weeded out, and eventually they all will, it looks like, with the way things are going. But yeah, so you guys are looking out for each other, and I appreciate you guys. So keep on doing that. Don't let that stop you. We'll be back here next week. We'll be back at our normal time, I do believe. I don't think there's another event next week for a virtual party to have one. I could use a week off. In fact, I'm going to take a week off because next weekend will be my last weekend before I go back to my day job, which will have me working, 23 hours a day with all the stuff I got going on. So I'm going to take a weekend, actually just a day at the end of that Sunday, and just picnic and hang out with the family and be lazy. So I am going to hang out with you guys tonight in just about 15 or 20 minutes. We're going to go over to the J-Dub Belts page. If you guys are already there listening and hanging out to this podcast, just stay there. We'll be back here in about, like I said, about 15, 20 minutes. We'll get the all up in your crib going. We'll have some fun. We'll hang out. We'll relax for a little bit, and then I am on a straight up lockdown until next week's podcast. So I'll be here for that, and like I said, I'll get back. I'm just going to take the afternoon to recharge, because it is going to be balls out from here on out. If you guys didn't catch my post, go to the J-Dubs page and kind of get a gist of what we got going on here. Like I said, guys, I apologize for being a few days behind, a couple of weeks in some cases because of some of the stuff that happened. But we're getting back on track and we're getting to it. So, again, be good to each other, everybody. I appreciate that you come and hang out with me every week, and you come to the virtual parties and all that stuff, man. Even if I only got one or two of you, I'm happy to have you. So please come hang out. Tell your friends about what we got going on here. We'll talk a little bit about stuff. Shout out to my boy Cody Stamann whooping that ass on UFC 250 last night. Prayers and thoughts to the family. He lost his younger brother just a week ago, and he fought his ass off for him. His brother was in his corner, gave him the strength. They looked amazing together out there. I love everybody. I love them. I love you. Be good to each other. Peace.
You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.